G'day guys, Matt here from Not in the Manual. This video today is going to be about an app or a tool that you can download onto your phone that gives you a lot of information about the car. It gives you access to the car's CAN bus circuit and the data that's flowing around through there. So it interprets that data and it gives you a lot of information about what's going on with the car that you just can't get through the display screen. So the first part of it is an app on the phone. Then the second part of it is a harness adapter in the car that allows you to tap into the vehicle's driveline CAN bus system or chassis CAN bus system that you can't normally access through the other OBD port under the dashboard. And you then have an OBD2 adapter, Bluetooth adapter that allows communication with your phone, wireless communication. And I'm going to show you how to set that up and what information. The objective of this video is basically to show you what this tool is capable of and then give you a couple of examples of things in the car of how it works. I'll show you what the car does when it's preconditioning for fast charging and how it heats up the battery, and you can see all that operating, and it's quite handy. That'll be just one example of a system in the car that this tool allows you to learn. So what we're doing is tapping into the CAN bus system. Now CAN bus, I just want to give you a brief history on the CAN bus system before we move into fitting the harness adapter and the OBD port adapter as well. CAN bus is a network that was developed in the late 80s for cars. And late 80s, early 90s. And it was when cars became a bit more complex. So there was a lot more switches and sensors and electronic boards being put into cars. So to reduce the complexity and increase the reliability of the cars, they had to come up with a better way of the electronics talking to each other and reducing the amount of wires and cabling within the car. So every plug, connector, switch, sensor, harness, everything in the car, the more complex you make it, the more risk there is of something going wrong. So one thing you'll appreciate with a Tesla Model 3 is how simple they are. Everything has been simplified. They've reduced the amount of components in the car. It's good because it makes the car cheaper, but it also makes the car more reliable, less complex. So what this tool allows you to do is to tap into that system and learn how the car works and just see how efficient this car is and how all those systems communicate with each other. And you can see a lot of information that you normally don't see with cars. So it's pretty fascinating. So what CAN bus did in the early days was allowed the engine computer to talk to the transmission computer and send a lot of information back and forth very quickly. And CAN bus really changed the way things were done. So what CAN bus stands for, the CAN part stands for Controller Area Network, because you're basically creating a network between all the electronic components in the car. And then the bus is basically the hardware that allows this network it's where the signals are sent over. So it's mostly wiring, the bus part of it. And what a CAN bus signal is, or the signals that the electronics use to talk to each other, it's a language, it's like a Morse code. So it's a sequence, it's a binary code or a packet of data that is sent across that network of wires. And then the different electronic components are trained to understand that or look out for certain signals or certain identifiers, look for signals from certain components. And they're programmed for that. So that data is sent over the network very fast. It could be 10 milliseconds or 100 milliseconds. It really depends on what signal is being sent and how important that is and what component it has come from. So if you think of a sequence or a sequence of binary data as with ones and zeros, it's like your dots and dashes for Morse code. and it's interpreted in a very similar way. So if you remember back to computer basics, you'll remember that computers talk to each other in a binary language of ones and zeros. And it's a sequence of those ones and zeros that is the language of computers. And then the software interprets that binary data, or packets of binary data, and is taught to look for certain sequences in that and interpret that into useful information. That's the basics of it. If you picture a light bulb, so a light bulb turning on is like a 1 in a binary, and the light bulb off is like a 0. So what the electronic components are doing is sending a sequences of voltages turning on and off at particular intervals and particular levels and they send that in a particular sequence. So an on is a 1 and a 0 is an off. And just think of it like that. So yeah, Morse code, when I'm teaching people about it, Morse code is the thing that people can tend to relate to the most, and it really is very similar to that. So you have this signal being sent across 2 wires in the car. So now with CAN bus, you've got 2 wires with this, that create a network throughout the car. And you have all this data flowing through at a very fast rate, a very regular rate, and you've now got 2 wires sending all this information instead of 1 wire from every little switch and sensor traveling from the front to the back of the car. So CAN bus really simplifies things and reduces the amount of wiring. And I'm guessing eventually, this will all be wireless, and you'll really just have power feeds running throughout the car just to power up the different electronic controllers, and they'll all talk to each other wirelessly. So that'll be even less wires traveling through the car. So for an electronic component to communicate via CAN bus, all you usually need is a positive and negative 12 volts, or whatever voltage your system is working from, and then you have a CAN high and a CAN low wire. And what that is, a CAN high and a CAN low is the 2 wires in a CAN bus circuit, and it's used there to. You've got to think these CAN bus wires are running through a car. There's a lot of voltages. There's a lot of metal around. There's a lot of things that can interfere with a signal running through a wire and cause interference. There's electromagnetic fields that can upset that information being sent. So what the CAN high and the CAN low design was, you have the same signal being sent down the CAN high and the CAN low, except they're the inverse of each other, or the mirror image. So with the sequence of data, you will have, the light bulb being on was a 1, but in the CAN high, but in the CAN low, think of it as the light globe off is a 1. And then what the electronics does at the other end is it looks at those 2 signals, compares them, and looks for changes. It's constantly checking one against the other and looking for consistency in that data and accuracy in that data. So that's there as a backup and to make the system a bit more reliable, to stop interference from other cabling in the car and other systems in the car. You've got to think you've got a big electric motor, you've got big power cables, you've got all sorts of things running around this car that create electromagnetic fields, and they can interfere with the flow of electrons through cabling and wiring. So there's all sorts of shielding and things that are around wiring harnesses just to prevent contamination of information between wiring in the car. So the CAN bus system, I think proof of how reliable and how effective that is, has been for the years, is it hasn't changed much since the 90s. And we're using that same system, and I think the next progression from that is moving to single wire CAN bus type systems, or wireless systems. Things are changing. Electronics have advanced a lot, so we're going to see a lot of interesting changes come up in the next couple of years as building cars now. It's not just about reducing our use of fossil fuels or reducing our emissions. It's about thinking about all components in the car and what's going to happen at end of life. And really, if you reduce the amount of components in the car, the amount of wiring, and it reduces firstly it reduces the cost of the car to have less cabling going through the car. There's less to try and recycle at the end of the car's life, and less waste. So I think it's good all round. So we're heading in the right direction, and I think the electric cars have sort of forced car manufacturers to really start thinking about the end of life and the recyclability of the cars, and the materials that first go into the cars and where they come from. And it's nothing but a positive thing. So this is really one of those things that I'm really enjoying seeing. So this video is going to have a few parts to it. Hopefully you have a bit of a better basic knowledge of CAN bus and what's going on there, and it's just how the electronic components talk to each other. Now what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to tap into a wiring harness in the back of the center console here at the floor level, where your feet would be if you're in that middle seat in the back. We're going to tap into it with this harness, and this harness is then going to give us a OBD2 port. Now this is an onboard diagnostic port, and we're then going to put our OBD adapter, we're going to plug that into that port. It's then going to communicate with our phone and give our phone access to read the data that's flowing around the CAN bus circuit of the car. So the second part of this video will be fitting this harness and Bluetooth pairing it with the different devices. I'll show you how to do that with the iOS device and an Android device. And then I'll give a demonstration of the sort of information that you're going to see. We've also got this pry tool. It's a plastic pry tool, so it doesn't damage your dash components. I've done this enough times now, I've got a way to show you how to do it just by hand without the use of this tool, but that can be a bit difficult, so you may need to use one of these tools just to pry that dash panel out without scratching it up and damaging it there. So yeah, let's move into the back of the car now and fit the adapter. Okay guys, we're now in the back. We're going to remove this panel to get access to the harness where we're going to tap into with our adapter. So you need to start by moving the front seats forward, and we're going to power down the car as well. So I'll just move through to the front and we'll power down the car first. So you need to make sure that you have exited out of the Tesla app, that you've got all doors and windows closed in the car, and you need to get into settings, safety, power off the car. We'll close the door. And it usually takes a minute or so for the car to power down. So while we're waiting for the car to power down, we're going to remove this panel here. So you can do it with this tool, nice plastic tool, it's not going to damage. Push it in here, pull up, and start undoing the clips to that cover, or you can just do it by hand with no tools. Put one hand either side of the cover towards the bottom, squeeze really tight, and then unclip the cover. So it comes off that easy. So when you go to put it back in, remember this clip to the top, and you can see that lines up with the slot there. So this is the harness plug that we want to undo now to tap into with our adapter. So the car has powered down now, so we can just unclip. There's a little clip to push in here, so we push that clip in first, slip that plug undone, it's that easy. Then we get our adapter plug and clip it in here. The nice click, make sure that's in all the way. Then we do the other end. Remember, we were clip facing outwards in the beginning. Make sure that's in secure. That's in nice and tight. Now we've got this nice little hidey hole here to push this plug back into and tuck that little adapter away nice and neatly. Now we want to leave this hanging out. This is the onboard diagnostic plug, the OBD2 plug. We want to leave that hanging out because sometimes you do need to disconnect this OBDLink MX Plus plug. Sometimes it just develops a bit of an issue and you need to reset it, and you do need to unplug that and plug it back in just to power cycle it, and that usually fixes the issues. Now we want to put this cover back on, but we probably need to power the car up first just to check that the power light lights up. So I'll open the door, the car's powered back up again. We'll plug the OBD adapter in. Yep, and look at that, it's powering up. No problem, we've got a nice green light there, and we've got the Bluetooth light flashing waiting to pair with the device. We can now put the plastic cover back on. So line up that top one, clip it back in. Hear a nice snap and you can see it's all sitting flush there. Now I'm going to show you how to pair that with the iOS device and the Android device. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to Bluetooth pair with iOS device, iPhone, and an Android. So you can see the differences there, and the Android is far easier. But first of all, you need to download the app. So the app is called, you can see here, the app is called Scanmytesla. So if you search that up in the, I've done it here in the App Store, so you can see the app here. The app is $13.99. I've already purchased it, so it doesn't show you the price, and I think it's a similar price on Android as well. So if you look at the app, go in and have a look at the, it gives you some screenshots and things here. You can look at the ratings, it's pretty good, the ratings. So you just work out if it's going to work with your device. I've just grabbed an old iPhone here, one of our old ones, and set it up on here. So once it's downloaded, you can then open the app. I've already got it open in the background. But for an iPhone, you need to go through and pair the Bluetooth link with the phone first. So if we go to the Bluetooth settings of the phone, you can see here it's looking for the device. Now, the OBDLink MX Plus has a security feature where you need to actually physically press the reset pair button on the front here, and at the moment it's paired with the Android phone that I've got, but you know, when you need to pair it with a different device, you need to actually physically press this button. That just stops people walking past your car pairing with the device and reading information from your car. So I think it's a pretty good feature to have. So if we press that button and hold it down and then let go, we can see that device. Just hold it down for a bit longer. Okay, that's in pairing mode now. You can see the fast blue flashing light. You can now see on my phone, it says OBDLink MX Plus, and it's got the serial number of the device. We click on that. That's now connected and paired with my phone. So I can go back to the Scanmytesla app. It gives you a bit of a welcome screen here the first time you use it. So it tells you that you need an adapter cable, which is what we fitted to this car. There's a couple of different adapter cables for the different cars. For the Model X, Model S, and the Model 3. They all use different cables. You want to make sure you order the right one. And there's links on there on the Scanmytesla website, and I'll put that all down in the comments. And yeah, I got mine from one of the American stores. I just wanted to be sure that it was the best quality possible. I got one that's made in America. And yeah, it's worked fine for me, and I'll give you those links. The OBDLink MX Plus, you can buy that device a few different places. I just bought it from Amazon. I just searched OBDLink MX Plus and just picked the one most convenient for me. But you can order that straight from some stores around the world, wherever you want, but I just used Amazon because it was convenient for me. You can then go across and look at here through dashboard, signal list, but we just want to check that it's connected properly. So we choose the car, Model 3 and Y. So this will only connect once you've paired with the adapter beforehand, before you go into the app. Occasionally it gives you a bit of grief. We go back to Bluetooth and make that. See, it's not connected anymore. iOS is a little bit unstable. Sometimes it will just connect automatically. See, other times it's giving me a bit of grief now. So turn Bluetooth off on the phone. Turn Bluetooth back on again. It's good to have actually had some trouble here. So try and pair with the device again. It's now connected. You can see the blue light on the device is now solid. We should be able to just go back to the Scanmytesla thing. You can see there it's found the adapter. It's saying initializing adapter, setting filters. And we can start to see some data come up here. So we know it's connected. I'll try and get it here in a point where you're not getting reflection on the screen. Okay, you can see battery voltage. You're going to see limited data here at the moment. You need to put your foot on the brake pedal to actually get some more data to show. And that's it for the iOS device. So I'll run you through a few things. Actually, I might just run through some things now. So if you click where it says performance, you can then bring up your different signal lists. So there's a speed one. Actually, no, temperatures is interesting. You can see all the temperatures scroll through here. So some of this data here isn't working properly yet. Some of it's really, you really just got to go through and find out what you want to use it for. So you can bring up HVAC data, HVAC information, battery. So you can look at each individual cell voltage. See, it's going to start. Once again, not all of these will come up until I push my foot on the brake pedal. Battery management system. So you have all the same signal lists as the Android phone. You can just look at all of them in this screen here and scroll through. So up the top here it gives you the status of the adapter. So that's connected now and we can start to see the signals flicking here. I use the Android. The Android app, you can actually customize these signal lists. You can copy and paste them from other lists into the one and just have the ones here that you want to see all the time. So you can change here display, you can change the type of gauge, and then over here you can change the size of the readouts. So you can see you can make them pretty big. So that's basically it. You do have some set dashboards here. We can click on dashboards. So here you get to you've got a few different screens here. You can get to see the data displayed in a different format. You just got to find the right one for you. I prefer to just have the signal lists up back here and then customize that on the Android phone to show you the data you want to see. So it's telling me now straight away the battery voltage, the kilowatts the battery is discharging at this stage. It's running the AC, and then it gives you the cell temp average there, 32.3. So we're still in summer here in Australia, so the battery, no issue heating the battery up. It's usually 26 or 27 degrees in my garage overnight, so there's no real issue preconditioning the battery at the moment. Even in winter here it doesn't get that cold, so I don't really have the issues that people in Europe and Northern America have. But yeah, so that's really it for the iOS device. I'm not really going to show you any more on this because I'll do the rest of it on the Android, so I'll show you the Android pairing at the, now. Okay, this is just a cheap Android phone that I bought. You can buy them very, very cheap. It doesn't need to be a super fancy phone to be running this. The Android phone is much easier. So you need to press the same reset button on here. Press and hold that reset button. You can see there we've now got the blue flashing light, which means it's in pairing mode. So with the Android phone, it's simple. You download the app on the Google Store, and then you simply just start the app. And so it does all the Bluetooth pairing for you. It's found the adapter, it's initializing the adapter, and it's that easy. So you can see there I've now paired. And if you now look at this adapter down here, you can have a look. You can see now there's some data going, data flowing. You can see the blue light is solid now that it's paired to that device. And we can now see, this is the customized screen that I have. I've got some extra data here, and I'll show you how to customize that. We'll move to the front of the car. I just wanted to do this pairing video back here so that you could actually see what I need to do on the device to pair it. So I really think that that security feature of having to actually physically press a reset button to pair a new phone is pretty good. So yeah, same deal. I've got a few more gauges here that aren't shown at the moment because I haven't put my foot on the brake pedal of the car. I've just come in through the back door here. So it's just running climate and minimal things, but once I push my foot on the brake pedal, it will actually turn the car fully on, and you'll start to see some more gauges here. So I'll move through to the front of the car.